My ex demanded I return the gifts he gave me after our breakup, saying, "You don't deserve anything from me anymore." When I refused, he showed up at my apartment with his new girlfriend and yelled, "I'm taking back what's mine." My neighbor peered through the door as I crossed my arms and said, "Then let's see what the police have to say about that." I met Derek in the summer of 2019 at a local coffee shop in Austin, Texas. He was charming, witty, and had a smile that could light up a room. We quickly fell into a whirlwind romance. He showered me with gifts, jewelry, designer handbags, and even a new laptop. He always said, "You deserve the best." I was smitten. As time went on, Derek's behavior started to change. He became possessive and controlling. He would question my every move, accuse me of things I hadn't done, and slowly isolated me from my friends and family. I tried to ignore the red flags, hoping things would get better. But deep down, I knew something was wrong. After 2 years of emotional turmoil, I decided to end the relationship. I couldn't take the constant accusations and emotional abuse anymore. I moved into a new apartment in Dallas, hoping to start fresh. Derek didn't take the breakup well. He bombarded me with calls and messages, demanding I return all the gifts he had given me. He said, "You don't deserve anything from me anymore." I was shocked. Those gifts were given to me out of love, or so I thought. One evening, as I was settling into my new place, I heard a loud knock on my door. I peered through the peephole and saw Derek standing there with his new girlfriend. He was holding a box, and she had a smug look on her face. He yelled, "I'm taking back what's mine." I opened the door slightly, crossed my arms, and said, "Then let's see what the police have to say about that." My neighbor, Mr. Thompson, peered through his door, concerned about the commotion. After the confrontation, I decided to seek legal advice. I learned that in Texas, gifts given during a relationship are considered the property of the recipient unless they are conditional gifts, like engagement rings. I had every right to keep the items Derek had given me. Armed with this knowledge, I felt empowered. I blocked Derek on all platforms and informed him that any further contact would be considered harassment. Derek didn't take the news well. He continued to send me messages from different numbers, threatening to take legal action. I documented every message and call, preparing for any potential legal battle. Eventually, he stopped. I later learned from mutual friends that his new relationship had ended, and he was facing financial difficulties. It seemed he was trying to reclaim the gifts to sell them for money. With Derek out of my life, I focused on rebuilding. I reconnected with old friends, started a new job, and even began dating again. I learned to value myself and set boundaries. The experience taught me the importance of self-respect and standing up for oneself. Looking back, I'm grateful for the lessons learned. While the journey was painful, it made me stronger. I now understand the importance of recognizing red flags and not ignoring them. I also learned that true love doesn't come with conditions or expectations. It's about mutual respect and support. To anyone going through a similar situation, know that you're not alone. Stand your ground, seek legal advice, and don't let anyone bully you into giving up what's rightfully yours. Remember, you deserve love and respect, not manipulation and control. As I look to the future, I'm filled with hope. I've learned from my past, and I'm ready to embrace new opportunities. Life is too short to dwell on the past. It's about moving forward, learning, and growing. A week after Derek stormed off, things were quiet. Too quiet. I kept expecting something to happen, like I was holding my breath all the time. I even started sleeping with the pepper spray on my nightstand. Then, one morning, I went to my car and found a long scratch across the driver's side door. It wasn't just a little ding. It was deep, angry, and deliberate. Like someone had taken a key and carved it in slow, purposeful strokes. I knew it was him. He used to joke about how people need to learn their lessons the hard way. He used that exact line once when he slashed a guy's tires at a bar for looking at me too long. I reported it to the building manager and filed a police report. The officer was polite but non-committal. Without proof or cameras, they said, it would be hard to do anything. I started parking my car 2 blocks away just to be safe. Things escalated 2 days later. I got an envelope shoved under my door. No stamp, no address, just slid in quietly. Inside was a photo of me and Derek from a year ago, burned around the edges, and written in his handwriting on the back. You think you won, but you'll lose more than just me. That did it. I went to the police again. This time, I brought all the messages, the calls from unknown numbers, the scratched car photos, the burned photo. They started taking me more seriously. An officer suggested I get a restraining order. I filed immediately. That same night, I changed the locks on my door and added a door camera. But Derek wasn't done. A week later, my phone blew up with messages from people I hadn't talked to in months. Old friends, coworkers, even distant cousins. Apparently, Derek had posted a long, dramatic post on Facebook claiming I stole thousands from him, lied about abuse, and was harassing him and his new girlfriend. He included old photos of us and screenshots from out-of-context texts to paint me as unstable. He tagged everyone. My inbox was a mess. Some people believed him. Others asked if I was okay. A few were clearly enjoying the drama. But the worst part was the email I got from HR at my job. Someone, Derek, had sent an anonymous tip to my employer accusing me of fraud and misconduct at work. It was complete garbage, but HR had to investigate. I was placed on administrative leave while they sorted things out. I sat on the couch that night staring at the wall. My job was in danger. My reputation was under attack. And the guy who once said he'd marry me was now trying to ruin my life piece by piece. I called his mom. I don't know why I did it, honestly. Maybe I hoped she'd talk sense into him. Maybe I just needed someone from his side to understand. She answered, quiet, almost like she expected the call. I told her everything. About the gifts, the threats, the messages, the police reports, the scratched car, the fake job tip. She sighed and said, I warned you. I told you, he does this every time someone leaves him. He did it to Kelly. He did it to Sarah. He thinks women are his property. Then she said, I'll talk to him. But be careful. He's getting worse. That night, my door camera caught him pacing in front of my building. He never came to the door. Just walked back and forth for 20 minutes, smoking, talking to himself, staring at my windows. I stayed in bed with the lights off, phone in hand, heart racing. The next day, someone tried to break into my apartment. I wasn't home, but the door was busted like they'd tried to force it open with something heavy. A neighbor said they saw someone running down the stairs in a hoodie, but no face. The cops took it seriously this time. They added it to my file and fast-tracked the restraining order. I got a text from a random number later that night. All this could have been avoided if you just gave me my stuff. That was the last straw. I hired a lawyer. A real pit bull. I wanted to file charges. Harassment, threats, destruction of property, defamation. The whole list. Then something happened I didn't expect. His new girlfriend messaged me. She sent me a screenshot of a conversation with him where he talked about teaching me a lesson and how if she thinks she's safe now, she's in for a shock. She said she was scared and didn't know what to do, and she was sorry for showing up at my place with him that day. She said he told her I cheated, stole from him, and that all he wanted was his stuff back. But now he was scaring her, too. Following her to work. Watching her sleep. She broke up with him the night before. I asked her to send me everything. Every message, every voicemail, every bit of proof she had. She did. And I gave all of it to my lawyer. The next week, we filed everything. Police reports, her messages, my documentation, his social posts. It wasn't just harassment anymore. It was a pattern. A record. But it didn't stop him. A few days after we filed, things seemed to go quiet again. No texts. No strange packages. No pacing outside my building. It was the silence that made my skin crawl. I knew Derek too well to think he'd just give up. Then the weirdest thing happened. I got a call from a blocked number. I didn't answer. A voicemail popped up. It wasn't Derek. It was a woman, sounding nervous. She said, "Hi, I don't know if you remember me. My name's Ava. I dated Derek back in 2016. I heard what's been happening from a mutual friend. I wanted to warn you. Be careful. He did to me what he's doing to you. But worse." She left her number. I called her back the next morning. Ava was jittery. Said she had to talk while at work so he wouldn't know. She told me Derek got violent with her once, threw a chair at her, locked her in a room, and threatened to fake an injury to the police to ruin her for trying to leave him. She had to disappear for a year and change her number 3 times before he finally let go. I asked if she'd be willing to talk to my lawyer or the cops. She hesitated but said yes. She was tired of being scared. She'd kept quiet for too long. The police reopened the investigation with her statement added. A week after that, I found out my medical records had been accessed. My health insurance provider called to confirm that I had requested copies of my therapy notes. I hadn't. Turns out someone impersonated me using my old email and sent in a request. When I looked into it deeper, I realized Derek had all my old passwords. He must have guessed I hadn't changed one of them. He tried to get copies of my therapy records, probably to use them to embarrass or discredit me. He always hated that I went to therapy. Said it was a waste of time and that real problems don't need strangers to fix them. That's when I got really scared. It was like he wasn't just trying to get back at me, he wanted to ruin me. So I changed all my passwords. Again. Set up 2-factor everything. Locked down my social media. Froze my credit. I didn't want to take any chances. And then the big twist came. I got subpoenaed. Not for my case. For his. Derek had been arrested in Houston for stalking another woman. Her name was Sophia. They dated briefly a year ago. Apparently, she had filed a police report after he followed her to a conference out of state and broke into her hotel room. She pressed charges. When the cops arrested him, they found a folder in his car with printed photos, addresses, and personal info on multiple women, me included. My stomach dropped when I heard that. He had a file on me. Pictures from outside my job, my building, even a photo of me sitting on my balcony I hadn't known was taken. They also found a USB drive in his glove box. Inside it were audio recordings. Dozens of them. Phone calls, voicemails, even some conversations he recorded secretly when we were still together. He was building a narrative. Trying to collect things he could twist or manipulate later. The man had been planning something far bigger than I knew. The police added stalking and unlawful surveillance to the list of charges. Then, the next day, I was followed home. It wasn't Derek. It was a man in a black sedan. He didn't try to talk to me. Just parked across the street and watched. He stayed there for over an hour. I called the cops, but by the time they arrived, he was gone. My lawyer thought maybe Derek had someone else doing his dirty work while he was locked up. A friend. Or someone he paid. It made sense. Derek had always bragged about having people who owed him favors. I started to wonder how deep this really went, and how much worse it could get. A few days after the man in the black sedan appeared, I started getting phone calls late at night again. Always from unknown numbers. Always silent on the other end. Sometimes I could hear breathing. Other times, nothing at all. I stopped sleeping. I'd wake up from half dreams convinced someone was in the hallway. I moved in with a friend across town. Melissa. She had 2 big dogs and security cameras. I didn't tell her everything, just enough to explain why I needed to crash. I still went to work now that HR cleared me after their investigation, but I never stayed out past dark. The real break came when the police finally searched Derek's storage unit. Apparently, he'd been renting one just outside Houston under a fake name. When they opened it, they found more files, more photos. Notes scribbled in journals, some pages covered in just my name, over and over. They found burner phones, SIM cards, GPS trackers, even a wig and fake license plates. But what stopped me cold was the notebook titled, "She'll Regret Everything." The pages inside had detailed descriptions. My building layout. What times I came and went. Places I like to eat. What clothes I wore. He knew everything. Everything. There were pages about ways to make her feel it. One plan said to destroy my car. Another one, worse, described breaking in and staging it like a robbery gone bad. It hit me then. This wasn't just about revenge. Derek had been planning to destroy my entire life. And maybe worse. The police charged him with stalking, unlawful surveillance, attempted identity theft, harassment, and conspiracy. Because of the material in the storage unit, the DA had enough to argue he was a serious threat. He was denied bail. Finally. But I wasn't done. I took every piece of evidence and filed a civil suit against him. For damages, emotional distress, defamation. Everything I could throw at him. My lawyer was relentless. And Derek's lawyer, some guy clearly hired on desperation, could barely keep up. Then the trial started. He looked small in court. For someone who used to tower over me, always so confident, he now sat hunched, unshaven, eyes darting around. He tried to act like the victim at first, like I'd wronged him and he just wanted his life back. But the evidence buried him. The photos. The videos. The messages from other women. The threats. The Facebook post. The call logs. The fake work tip. The burned photo. The lockpick kit found in his trunk. One by one, they piled on. Ava testified. Sophia did too. Even his ex-girlfriend who messaged me, the one who'd been too scared to come forward before, showed up and told her story. It was overwhelming. The judge didn't hold back. He called Derek a manipulative, dangerous predator who used charm and technology to control and terrorize women. He got 5 years minimum. But I wasn't ready to move on. Not just yet. Because there was something I hadn't told anyone. Right after the trial started, I sent Derek one last message. Through my lawyer, legally. It was a printout. On one side, a copy of the defamation post he made about me. On the other, I'd written 6 words. Now you get what you gave. I won the civil case. He was ordered to pay damages, legal fees, therapy costs, everything. I knew I'd never see the money. He was broke. But that wasn't the point. I wanted it in the records. I wanted it known. For the rest of his life, whenever someone Googles his name, this will show up. The files. The charges. The court dates. The testimonies. My story. He tried to erase me. Silence me. Scare me. But now he's the one locked away. Reputation shattered. Future destroyed. And me? I moved again. Got a new number. New apartment. Changed jobs. Not out of fear, but to start over, for real this time. But I'll never forget what I learned. I should have walked away the first time he raised his voice. I should have changed all my passwords the moment we broke up. I should have listened to the people who warned me. But I also know this, he underestimated me. And in the end, that was his biggest mistake.